Yo, yo, yo! What's going on, great people and all of the great land? It's your guy, Nicholas Wilcox. It's your guy, Johnny Main. We here representing Week 9, the Fantasy Football Show, DFS, props, bets, your starts, and sits. Johnny, say what's up to the great people. For all you know, Johnny's had a week. Let's just say that. Johnny's had a nice long stretch of a hard, long week. And let's give him a nice little clap. He's here with us today.
Yeah, no, I'm just ready to get into week 9, man. What a weird looking slate. What just looks weird. You know, my Vols sucked. They lost last night. You know, it just, yeah, man, like I'm ready to get this stench off of me from the last week and some change as far as, you know, fantasy football, the Vols, everything, you know, what a time to be alive. So happy Sunday morning, everybody. Happy Sunday morning. Happy week 9, man.
We out here, we in the building. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much the halfway point of the NFL season. You know, if you ain't checked us out on TikTok, the Fantasy Football Show, check out me. Check out my guy Johnny Main as well, dropping all of the notes. Went over some of the mid-season guys at this point that were a disappointment so far, and if they're going to be bouncing back. We'll have a series on guys that we've been hitting on as well. And then, again, y'all got any questions for trade advice, stuff like that? You know, trade deadlines are coming up. So get at your boys. But that being said, we're going to break it down. Going to start right here with a doozy. Vikings getting 8.5 on the road going to Detroit. The over is 47.5. Brian Branch is back for the Lions, obviously after a one-game suspension. J.J. McCarthy starting at quarterback with obviously Carson Wentz now going to be having season-ending shoulder surgery. I know there's rumors also about them trading for a veteran quarterback as well, which they probably should. There was rumblings about Kirk Cousins, but he's not going to take a pay cut to go back to them. But those are just a little bit of news in terms of just outside the X and O's. For this matchup, what I got for is Jared Goff is like lightning in the bottle in these type of situations. He's absolutely went out and just did his thing against the overall Vikings. And if you look at it, this is just a spot where, you know, for DFS purposes, like this is a spot where we can literally potentially go an onslaught overall in this game. I'm curious what you're thinking in terms of this matchup in general, and if you're getting them to any of these pieces for DFS purposes.
Yep. Playing primarily on FanDuel today is what I'm playing on today. It just didn't have enough time to get to DraftKings, so. But obviously I'll go over the DraftKings ownership. Like I'll talk through that. That's kind of what my primary focus will be today, like as far as giving out info, but like game overall, as soon as I started to kind of look at the slate or get a peek at it for like Tuesday, Wednesday, this was one of the first games like I looked at and I was like, okay, like this game definitely has shootout potential, like tons of stars in this game. Obviously, man, you can go, you know, up and down both rosters, outside, inside, tight end. Even quarterback. I know you were just talking about Jared Goff, which, you know, max entering on 25 cent and 5 cent on DraftKings and FanDuel. He was the spot that I tried to make sure I intentionally got to. Kind of had a pretty good pulse on some of these players too, man, that just haven't showed up. There's a couple of guys that I'm really interested in today that just haven't done anything. J-Mo is one of those guys for sure. Like this game is at home, and like I haven't even looked, so I don't want to. If I'm already in your bag, I'm sorry.
Well,
bro.
No, it's not even that. Just to add to what you were saying is that Vikings could be playing, you know, their third and fourth corners outside of Byron Murphy today.
Right.
So that's something where, you know, there's a lot of talk about the Lions getting him involved, stuff like that. Like we've heard this, whatever coach speaks stuff, but continue.
Yeah, no, there's smoke, there's fire in that space for sure. And I think like we've seen that over the last couple of weeks with some of these teams that have, I don't want to say star players, but really important and impactful players to, you know, their offense. Try to go out and like make something happen for them for sure. And I think too, we also know about the Vikings. They haven't been, you know, great against the run this year. So obviously like Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery are obviously in play as well. I like a lot of pieces. I don't think this is a bad situation. This isn't my favorite game, but it is definitely one of my top 2 or top 3 games so far to get to. Overall, man, just like from an ownership perspective, like I said, as far as DraftKings goes, Amon-Ra 15% owned right now. And then Justin Jefferson coming in at 7%. So those are the top 2 players on both teams. And then obviously we want to know about Jahmyr Gibbs, 10%. But Jordan Addison, low key, man, last couple of weeks, man, guy's been balling for sure. So might be a place you want to get to or think about getting to, but a mid price, wide receiver 2, 3, obviously depending on your build day, a lot of chalk. But Jordan Addison, man, only 2% owned for sure. So this is a really interesting spot for him. And JJ McCarthy, like you hit on it, man, like, is this, this has got to be it right now. It's like, this is his team moving forward. So I think this is a really, really interesting game from a fantasy perspective. Obviously from a real life perspective as well. If we're looking at the game, obviously, man, I'm going to roll with the Lions today. For sure. I think this is just a spot where, again, like I think there's been a lot of noise about a lot of different teams. People are talking about the Colts. People are talking about the Chiefs. Obviously, it's hard not to talk about the defending Super Bowl champions of the Philadelphia Eagles, but here we are again with the Detroit Lions, just, being consistent and being steady Eddie. So, so I'm going to take the Lions today for sure, man.
Yeah, I like what you're saying for sure. Hitting all the right notes. Addison, I think 5,800 on DraftKings today is a spot where in a slate where seems like a lot of people are going to go, value running backs and stuff like that. Get a little balance, get a little different with Addison right there for sure. You get the JJ Jefferson as well, obviously, always in play. Amon-Ra, always in play. I like Gibbs as well. I know there's a lot of running backs, like I said, but getting the upper echelon tier for Gibbs, all it takes is one nice little long run to really not only pay off his salary, but to get a ton of ownership leverage as well. And then we got our guy Haywood in the chat. Yo, what up? We got an extra hour of rest. So did I. Trust me. All my shenanigans. Yeah, I got an extra hour of rest too. So, but yeah, might have a question or two today. Yo, drop them. Let us know.
Let's do it.
Steven, what up? Got a question in regards to needing help for his second running back spot and my second flex in a full point PPR matchup, deciding between Bam Knight, Rico Dowell, Addison, Kenneth Walker, DJ Moore, and Romeo Doubs. So we're selecting your second running back and then your second flex out of all of these. Correct, Steven? Just let us know. Just to give us confirmation on that. And guys, that's what I do. That's what we do is right. The power is coming together. As we wait for Steven to give us clarity on that, just so know about this Lions team, Jared Goff shreds against the blitz. The Vikings, as you know, number 1 defense and, going against the blitz. And Jared Goff, 75% against the blitz so far this season. He's been crushing in terms of that regard. 128 passing QB passer rating against the blitz as well. So yeah, he carves. And matchups where the Lions are in this situation, like Jared Goff has, the Lions have averaged 30 points in the last five straight matchups against the Lions. So yeah, Lions onslaught is definitely in play here. So if you want to go Goff, Gibbs, you want to go J-Mo and Laporta, Amon-Ra, like any one of those guys, and then even drop in David Montgomery, get a little bit cute and different. I have no problem doing all those today. I'm not sure if the Vikings are going to be like as competitive in this one, but obviously the bring back Addison or JJ makes a ton of sense. You could even grossly go Aaron Jones because you could potentially get a lot of catches out the backfield. But in terms of that, like that's kind of where we're at. I like the Lions. I like them to cover 8.5 in this spot because they always do well in these spots. So I'm just going to go on to history and bank on the Lions to cover the spread here in this one. I like the over here as well because the Vikings are going to have to look to keep up. If that, especially if the Lions get out to a clean 14-0 lead early on, like the Vikings are going to have to keep throwing. The Vikings are going to have to try to keep themselves in this one. But yeah, correct. 1 running back, 1 flex spot. So Johnny, you want to take this question first, and then I'll take it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely, like we were talking about, for me, I don't know why they hate on my man like that, but that's all right. It's cool, man. I don't know why they hate on him. Yeah, like So a couple of these guys for me, like we're talking about Jordan Addison, like I like him. I think obviously it's a little bit uncertain about what the quarterback position is going to hold today, how that's going to look. Ken Walker, man, like these are it's so ironic that a lot of this is ironic. It's so ironic, man, because like
we can talk about these guys this week.
Yeah, Ken Walker and DJ Moore were on my all bust midseason team. So but I do like DJ Moore in his space today, and I think it's kind of hard not to, man. Like, so I'll kind of jump to him first and say, like, if there's a name that really pops out for me, it's him in that game environment in Cincinnati today. So I'm gonna go DJ Moore for sure. I'm gonna take him. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take him. And then from there, man, I'm going to go Jordan Addison. I'm just going to say, hey, like he's been playing.
So you have to.
It's a running back and a receiver. It's a running back. It's a running back. Give me DJ Moore. I'll go DJ Moore, and I'll go with the volume with Rico Dowdle because it sounds like it's going to be it's going to be all him is what it sounds like today. I know Ken Walker. I know it's kind of hard to. You see the name, but like, dude, like he hasn't done like Rico Dowdle, and I think like a lot of this too. I try not to go like super crazy, but like with Rico Dowdle, I know it was like the Jets and the Cowboys, like in that space where he did things. But now I'm pretty sure because the Commanders this week they got Seattle and Seattle. They got the Commanders. So JD5 is back. So like I feel like the energy is going to be different. For the Commanders, I think they're getting to that space where like it's must-win territory for them, and I think we see what happens when these teams get really desperate. And then, man, Ken Walker hasn't even really given you anything in the passing game. I think he's got 8 receptions all year. Zach Charbonnet is getting all the goal line work. So at this point, man, Ken Walker's just a name. So give me what I've actually been seeing. Give me Rico and give me DJ Moore.
Yeah, I mean, the running back's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough I just got to see it from Walker at this point. Like, it is one of those situations where, like, Charbonnet, like, he's looking a little bit more of that 60-40 split right now. So, yeah, I'm benching Walker for the moment because I just had to see it with my own eyes now and how they want to deploy him. And after the bye is going to be very telling. So I don't really want to start Walker in this spot only because I have no idea what to really expect. Like, we could get a nice little split between them, but it could be more Charbonnet because of how momentum-wise of what he came into before the bye week. So it's just one of those situations I just want to watch. So I'm going to agree with you. I like Rico, but give me Bam Knight because I do think they're in a spot where Dallas, we all know against run DVOA is one of the bottom defenses that can't stop the run. I know Michael Carter will be in the mix, or Emar Carter, whatever. I know Murray is still questionable, but it sounds like Brissett's going to start. So I do think that Bam Knight can find himself in better situations than Rico this week, because they get the Packers this week. So I do like Bam Knight to start, as spicy as that sounds, out of all these other options. But then, I like DJ Moore, but give me Jordan Addison. I think that Jordan Addison's going to find his way to getting a nice little longer catch today and getting some decent volume on top of that because they'll be in a situation where they have to keep on throwing. Bears get the Bengals. The Bengals are, the worst run defense in the NFL right now. So that's going to queue up for more run script things in that matchup. I like DJ Moore, but give me Jordan Addison. So we're real close. It's just more pivots. If you like what Johnny said about Rico and overall DJ Moore, it makes sense. I can align with that. But I like Bam Knight and Addison for sure.
Yeah.
And then, I don't mind Romeo Doubs. Trust me, he's getting more volume in his offense. You know what I'm saying? Again, the Packers receivers are always one of those situations that's like 6'7", like you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but tough scenarios for sure, Steve. If you got any more questions, let us know. And then another question that we got from Haywood we'll answer before we get to the next game. Full point PPR, pick one. Walker, Sharps, Tops. You know what? And then Shakir or Brashard Smith. If this is a real question, Haywood, if this is a real question, by the way, I would say if it's a real question, I'll go Shakir. I think Shakir in this against the Chiefs today is going to be something that is definitely worthwhile to watch. We just talked about the Walker Charbonnet, so that's like if we're really, again, it's just one of those situations. Just gotta find out what happens because usually after the bye, teams are going to find, they're going to find a way to like, all right, we're going to establish this moving forward. And I just have to see it. So if you have Sharps, I would probably start him here too, but give me Shakir in a matchup against the Chiefs, where I do think that in a high scoring output game, like we should expect Shakir to make some type of mark decently for that overall. But yeah, he has Shakir in right now.
Yeah.
What do you say, Johnny, to that?
Yeah, I as much as I want to play Rashard Smith today because I think like this is now is I know.
And this is gonna be the week, right? This is gonna be the week now, right? We said it last week. I was like, I'm calling this. Get Rashard Smith everywhere. The last 4 weeks, get him on your benches. Make sure you get this, and then all of a sudden, like hasn't happened. This, but if it happens this week before the bye, I'm going to literally throw my laptop out the window.
Well, make sure you put a mattress.
Not really.
Make sure you put a mattress outside because this is the week. Like this is the week. This is the week for all the guys that like we've been waiting on.
I hope so, but
all the guys we've been waiting on all year long.
I hope so.
I mean, no Pacheco today, and obviously we got Travion Henderson today. So like today's the day, man. Today is the day, man. You know what I mean? So. Daylight savings.
I really do hope so. It's gonna be one of those weeks.
But I think like it's one of those situations too, right? Where the nice part for you, Hayward, is like you actually have the option to decide on whether you're trying to play it safe or whether you're trying to shoot the moon, depending on what happens in the 1 o'clock window. So I would say, hey man, that's something just to kind of keep an eye on for sure. Like if you need like maximum upside, I think you go Rashard Smith. If everything is safe, you play Khalil Shakir because just as much as you just talked about the Green Bay Packer wide receivers, Buffalo Bills, it's the same situation, man. The ball goes to a lot of different places for sure. A little bit more concentrated with Buffalo, but I think it's very similar. So I don't mind. I'm with Nick on this one here, though. Like safety, Sharps and Shakir for sure.
Totally. Moving on to the Falcons-Patriots game. Falcons gained 4.5 in a row going into New England. Take on the Patriots. The over-under currently sits at 45.5. What I like about this one really is that, the Patriots have just been playing, with their head on fire, right? Drake May looking like a fantastic quarterback. Definitely someone that, has been on my preseason list of like ballers. So happy to have that out there. But literally just been cooking. And it's one of those situations now where, you not only have to adjust, but also just remember that, I think from New England, it's going to be literally can Atlanta's offense get started, kick-started with Penix back in the lineup for a second straight week. Like for what, last week it was Kirk Cousins in the lineup and just couldn't muster anything against Miami. And then they abandoned the run. 13 total touches for Bijan Robinson last week. What a disgrace. What a disgrace, by the way. Offensively on the year for Atlanta, they're 23rd in DVOA, 26th in EPA per dropback. So again, like it's not something to write home about. And then they get New England's defense, who's 5th in EPA per play per allowed, and they've allowed the 4th fewest points allowed per game, only 18 per game. But it's kind of they got a little, they got some cupcake matchups they played, stuff like that. So this will be a nice little test for them. And also with this Patriots defense, like they overall have just been a solid defense overall. So, I mean, in this matchup, like it's Drake London taking on Christian Gonzalez, the matchup I'm looking forward to seeing. Looking like more like a prize fight matchup. But I would say like it's got to be Bijan, it's got to be Drake London getting these guys involved. I just think it's going to be a bit tough sledding. So, give me the Patriots to cover here. I think give me the over because I think the Falcons, I'll have to double check their team total. I think it's like 16, 17, something like that.
Actually, I have a projection of 20 here from what I'm looking at, but
I had to double check the lines, but it was just something I'm thinking in my head. Obviously, the Falcons defense have been pretty stout as well, but they've allowed, 6 of the last 7 games, they've allowed 6 of those 7 running backs to have 100 rushing yards or more. So this is where they are susceptible. The weakness, they are a top 3 run funnel defense right now allowed. They allow 7th most yards per carry. And they have the highest, second highest sex rate in man gap coverages, concepts. That's what McDaniels loves to run. Travion Henderson, like, talk about guys we've been holding on to for quite some time or expecting some things to happen. Like, it's hopeful, pretty hopeful. It's this week, right? 75 rush yards last week. And I just think that, look, it's got to be the week for Henderson. If it's not this week,
yeah, it's unfortunate, man. A couple home leagues I'm in, or one of the home leagues I'm in last week, man. My roster was just like, it's pretty solid roster, and I just got to a space. I was like, all right, man. I was like, it's time to move off of him. So of course, like I dropped Travion Henderson last week, like in this home league. And of course, I'm like, yeah, like I literally, like, no, like,
you're the person that preaches patience, yo. What?
Yo, I know, but like this roster is like, it's a really good roster.
Right.
It's a really good roster. So like I ended up dropping. I'm trying to like bring up my roster here, but so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like I mean, in this space, man, it was like, and you can only keep a certain number of running backs as well. So it was it's Kamani Vidal, it's Chase Brown, it's RJ Harvey, it's Jordan Mason and Bashard Smith. And so it's like, all right, like Bashard Smith before last week, Bashard Smith was trending more than Travion Henderson. So it's like, all right, you got to
in that situation, like I probably would have considered more of a Jordan Mason drop. But I understand where we like him still.
But that I was about to say, man. I don't know, man. I stand on business, man. I stand on business. That was one of my guys during the offseason, and I stand on business. And so he's still on my roster because Aaron Jones is still fragile. Like that shit ain't changing. He's still fragile. But yeah, man, for me, I think there's just a couple of call outs too, man. Like, yes, today's the day definitely for Travion Henderson. We talk about the Patriots. The Patriots are one of the best teams in the NFL as far as going against running backs. So far, no running back has went over 50 yards for them in 8 games this season. So I think that's something to call out, obviously. And then you talk about the Falcons and what it is that they do. We talked about them being aggressive and blitzing. They have the highest blitz rate at 48% so far in the NFL. But the one thing is Drake May. He's completed over 13% more passes against the blitz than the league. Well, 13% more against the blitz. So he's got 624 yards and 7 touchdowns so far when that's happening. So I think, Drake May, we're just going to continue to keep playing him in DFS for sure. And then your guy, one of your other guys, man, Keyshawn Boutte, who got you off the hook a couple weeks ago.
Sure did.
Yeah, he got you off the hook a couple weeks ago.
He sure did. I told everybody to play him.
He's got 6 receptions of over 20 yards or more, equaling 174 yards and 4 touchdowns. His 4 touchdowns are tied with, another fan favorite of ours, Emeka Egbuka, who's kind of slowed down a little bit. But this is a really good spot for the Patriots. Like, I think, to your point, I think this is going to end up being, I like the under in this game here. For sure, because I think obviously, like, if the Patriots are able to slow down Bijan, then yes, like the game is going to go into Michael Penix's hands, and I think that's kind of what Mike Vrabel, I think that's what he will want. And, Mike Vrabel from the school of Belichick, take away the best option that's out there. Yep. And you mentioned it, man, Gonzalez, Seago, and Drake London, man, that's going to be fun to watch. So if that's fun to watch, what does that mean? It's Kyle Pitts time, baby. That's what it means right there. So Travion Henderson, 20% owned so far on DraftKings as far as the highest owned player. There, obviously, he's one of the chalkier plays of the week. So I expect to see him in probably a lot more than 20%. I might guess would be once kickoff hits, it'll probably be closer to 30, 33%. And then, like I said, man, you got Drake London coming in as the highest on Falcon at 12%. And I think we get this. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Oh, we cutting out now? What you doing, bro?
Somebody help me!
Oh, my goodness, Joe. His internet connection is off the chain today.
Oh, my goodness. What a nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare. But anyways, I'll shut up here because apparently that's what the world's trying to tell me. I think we'll see what Michael Penix. I think obviously we'll get a really good observation as far as how valuable he is to the Falcons. And I think we've seen that last week with the lackluster play of Kirk Cousins. So give me the Patriots, and I'll take the under in this space.
All right, I like that. Don't mind that either. Question 2. So full point PPR. is ETN or BTJ worthy of starting over Walker, Sutton, and Knight? Coming off a bye, I think Duval gets it going in the second half of the season. Great matchup today. So I would say that, yeah, like in a spot where I think it's tough because obviously I'm definitely most likely sitting Sutton where I have him unless I have to start him today. Stingley and these boys, man, oh my god, they're just so elite when it comes to what they do best. And then Walker and Knight. I mean, ETN's definitely worth a start. You put your money on it, Haywood. So there's that. But I would say, yeah, BTJ, the shoulder injury and stuff, like obviously he's clear cut. Like you got to start him. I would start him over Sutton today just because of matchup purposes. So I would definitely do that there. And then ETN, like it's ETN for me or Knight. So it's it's getting a little close there. I would say ETN over Knight if you're doing 1v1s here. I'm guessing that's what you're asking, unless it's something different, like you have to start just one flex, or there's just two people you got to start over the three you mentioned, like whatever that is. But what do you say?
I'm ETN with you on that, so like won't spend a lot of time on that space, but I'm definitely ETN because I like him a lot today. I think it's a really good matchup. And then you say BTJ, and I will always say this whenever you talk about Brian Thomas Jr. You don't have him on your roster, so you don't feel the pain. I do. Oh God. Oh God. Oh man. Thought I got
hey, I had Travis Hunter in a couple of spots, so I'm definitely feeling the pain now.
I didn't even tell you what happened in one of my home leagues, another one, man. So I look on the waiver and I see Travis Hunter out there because the guy didn't have enough roster space, so he drops him. So I'm making fun of him at work. Yeah. So, but no, like I think, like I understand what you're saying. Like I understand the matchup part of it. I understand the matchup part of it. You're talking about as far as like just the Texans and Stingley, but I also kind of like to operate in the space too, where I think like in these situations, like Cortland Sutton is the guy. So like they're going to try to find a way to get him involved and get him targets. Brian Thomas Jr., I think it's been up. It's been up and down for him all season long for sure. And like you mentioned, the shoulder injury, that's one of those things, man, where, man, like obviously I'm far from an NFL player, far from NFL caliber talent, but like I had a separated shoulder one time, man. And I will tell you, it ain't cute. It ain't cute. Yeah, and obviously all it takes, man, is, one wrong hit. I like Cortland Sutton, man. Like everybody knows, man, that's one of my guys. So like, I'm going to just get a little bit different than Nick. I'm going to say Cortland Sutton. I'm going to say it's going to work just because the Broncos are going to need this win. It's an AFC matchup. And hey, man, the Broncos, man, like they got themselves in a dogfight out there in the AFC West, man, obviously with the Chargers in Kansas City. So these turn into must-win games, man. So I'll take ETN and Cortland Sutton.
That's fair. That's fair. We're on pivots today. We're close. We're just on pivots.
Yeah, that's all right.
The Chargers, Titans. Chargers, 9.5 road favorites today going into Tennessee. Over under 43.5. What I like about this game really is that coming into it, like, got to talk about my guy, Rondé Gatson, who I've been talking about since February. Well, March. And look, it's about time the Chargers gave him a ton of more like usage, like, and got rid of these whack other tight ends like Will Dissly and stuff like that. You guys should just block. You guys don't have to catch the ball. Okay, let Pretty Boy Gadsden get the ball, all right? But in terms of attacking the Titans, they play a ton of cover 4. Said this several times throughout the season. And Gadsden averages close to 3 yards per route run against cover 4. And I do like the spot for him. 5,300. It's a little bit pricey to pay. But if you want to get a little contrarian, I think that's a little nice spot to go to. Can you believe Ladd McConkey is back?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Last 3 weeks, he's second in total targets, number 1 to Chase. And I think with Ladd at 6K today in DraftKings, makes a ton of sense as well in that spot. I do like the Chargers, obviously, in general. The 10 is tough to cover, though, going on the road. I there's just not much hope for this Titans offense right now. Like they've just been so like inept, and I just don't know. So I'll take the Chargers to cover, but hopefully it's just not one of those spots where the Giants from several weeks ago. Let's just say that, because how quickly you forget about that one. But I'll say that Chargers will cover here. I think they could get to over close to by themselves almost. But I do like also Kamani Vidal is pretty much just game script proof. No matter how you shake it, 6,300. I think is a spot where no matter how the game goes in some ways, whether it be the Chargers really leading because they could really salt away a game, and that's where Vidal really comes into play. No Haskins, he's on IR. We're talking about Jared Patterson will be the change of pace back today, which he looked pretty decent when I saw some tape on him the previous week. But I do like Vidal in this spot, 6,300. I do think there's a spot where I think that you should be locking him in some of your DFS lineups today, starting him everywhere in season long, where applicable. And I think that, again, the boost for Vidal in this spot, like I said, leading game script wise, goes up through the roof. He gets all the usage and volume. And even if they so-called, get down in the spot, Herbert and this Chargers offense, when it comes to, neutral game scripts, they still love to throw the football. So give me the Chargers to cover. Give me the over. I do think the Chargers could probably get at least 28 points today by themselves. So that's what I got. What you got, Johnny?
Yeah, so I'll just continue on like where you're talking about just them throwing the ball. Like the Chargers have called a pass play on 65% of their plays this season. That's the third highest in the NFL, and that's the most under Jim Harbaugh with any team. So I think like just to continue to kind of dig more into that right there, like, like you said, guys like Gatson, McConkey, Allen, Quentin Johnston, who it seems like, 100 moons ago, they've at least recorded at least 10 downfield receptions and 150 receptions this season. So, while you're talking about Kamani Vidal, and it is very valid because I am a big Kamani Vidal guy, like I think it just goes back to Justin Herbert. Right. Like that's what it goes back to for me when you're talking about DFS today. So like, I think obviously he's priced appropriately. But I think, this is one of those situations where obviously where you have Mahomes on the slate, you have Josh Allen on the slate. And obviously, if you want to go back to Caleb Williams or Joe Flacco or even like a Jordan Love, I think this is a place where we could look at, the slate and be like, how did we not take Justin Herbert? So I'm actually playing quite a bit of him on FanDuel today. So that's one of the things I will say. The Titans, yeah, bro. Like, like there just ain't a lot to say. Like there ain't a lot to say. Yeah. So I think like obviously if you want to talk about like some
Spears,
I was gonna say like if you want to talk about some run back options, like you could get in that space. Like all those guys are all relatively cheap. So like if you want to get off of like a Lions and Vikings game and just move over to the Chargers and Titans and flood your roster with as many Chargers as you can possibly stand with one Titan, like I could understand that. But for this game, obviously, man, yeah. No, see, I wasn't even gonna go there. I wasn't even gonna go there. But you opened it up, so it just obviously last week it was kind of crazy, and I didn't get a chance to to give you a hard time about anything. But my brother, me and him, we were watching the Titans game. I said, yeah, man. I said, my boy. I said he thought that.
He ain't put no money in that game. Put no money on that one.
Oh man. So I think like again, man, I think this is just a spot where just the Chargers continue to keep rolling here. I don't think it'll be too much. And you talked about like the pass catchers. Tennessee's 28th in the league. They rank 28th in receptions per game allowed to opposing wide receivers. So whether it's Keenan,
oh goodness, yo. You were just this morning, huh?
Okay. So no, I got a short over here. Whether it's Keenan Allen, whether it's Quentin Johnston, whether it's Ladd, one of those guys are definitely going to pop off. So I think like it's just a perfect situation for Justin Herbert today in DFS. So we'll be playing a lot of him today.
That's fair to say. On to the Colts and the Steelers. Colts getting favored by 3.5 going to Pittsburgh to take on Johnny's Steelers. Over-under is 50.5 currently. Did I hit the J? No. I think Johnny's just having like some connection issues. So he'll be back in a moment. But going to talk about his boys real quick in this matchup. And the thing about this matchup is that obviously it's one of the highest on the slate outside the Bills and the Chiefs. Steelers play a ton of single high. They're a top 3 defense of playing single high. And when Johnny talks about that defense, $180 million defense that still bleeds yards and points, it's still a situation we got to look out for. Daniel Jones leads all QBs heading into this matchup in yards per attempt against single high, and the deep ball rate increases by 13%. That's according to Fantasy Points. In this matchup as well, the person that gets targeted a ton in single highs and deep ball rates downfield for the Colts is none other than Alec Pierce. He has a 30% target share, 7th best among receivers. Leads the NFL in air yards per game. So that's something to watch out for. 4,600 on DraftKings today. I guess you could play him in a one-off lineup, or if you want to play him in an onslaught for the Colts today, that's definitely doable. This is something where for obviously him, it will be Tyler Warren here as well. So yeah, I do like both of those situations when it comes to getting a little bit different today. I'm not sure what ownership wise looks like. Johnny will let us know about that. But yeah, look, I think this is a spot where the Colts are definitely in a position to definitely win this one. They are for real. The only thing for the Steelers is that on the other side of things, Jaylen Warren, your guy, leads the NFL, leads the NFL in efficiency right now when it comes to running backs. So that's something where it's very interesting. Efficiency metric wise, RB9 in the year so far, Jaylen Warren as well. So that being said, the Steelers have really just not done this split thing. They didn't get cute with him anymore. 76% of the carries last week. So yeah, look, the Colts are also a bottom 7 in pressure rate. So this also leads to Metcalf, Rodgers potentially hooking up downfield in a matchup where they're going to have to probably keep throwing the football today. But both these defenses are susceptible to giving up yardage and big plays. So give me the Colts in this one to cover. I do think that we didn't talk about Jonathan Taylor, 9,800 today on DraftKings. Starting into that territory, we're yeah. For a running back that doesn't catch passes and stuff, you're going to rely on him to get 3 touchdowns every week. I do think the Steelers will stiff up a little bit against the run this week. So we'll just come down to situations where if Jonathan Taylor has these longer runs and stuff today, he's had, then that's totally doable. But 9,800, when there's other running backs, stuff like that, I'm not going to be on Jonathan Taylor. I have the last couple of weeks, but I think there's a spot where, your boys, TJ Watt, what I'm saying, Highsmith, all these dudes, all these dudes are going to get up in there and, stop the run. And I do think that they'll have to, rely, make Daniel Jones beat them. So, give me the Colts.
Yeah, imagine a world where at the beginning of the season I told you that Vanilla Vic would be out here crushing it against the defense with Cam Hayward and TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith and Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr. and Darius Slay. Imagine a world that I tell you, oh, wait a minute. We're living in it. We're living in it. And I'm living in it right now.
Hey, we're living in it. Is right. That's just you and all of us.
And you're what? Well, all Jonathan Taylor's got to do is score 3 touchdowns. If that happened today, would I be shocked? No, absolutely not. Is Alex Pierce a guy that, or Alex
7-1 in the year, Colts?
Is Alec Pierce a guy that could absolutely torch the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, of course, silly goose, because they play off of every single wide receiver in the league, duh. And we know what they're doing on defense. So guess what? I'm pretty sure these guys that get paid millions of dollars to come into work at 4:00 in the morning and watch film all day long, they probably know what they're doing as well. Why? Oh, because it's the Steeler way. And by the way, George Pickens, have yourself a season out there in Dallas. As we're still looking for another receiver. And you mentioned Jaylen Warren, of course, because this would be a year that I wouldn't take any Pittsburgh Steelers. So it makes logical sense. This is the year we get offensive production and value from somebody in a draft. So now that I've got that all off my chest, and hopefully this cord continues to work and doesn't short me out, I do think that there is a space, man, where I think this game does hit the 50 for sure. And I think it's one of those situations where even if it's the Colts dropping a 30 burger, I think that's something that's definitely within the realm of possibilities. You mentioned it about the Colts secondary and DBs. Like I think like one of the things that's happened is like game script has also dictated that teams have to throw the ball against them. But I think also too, to your point, like when the games are close, I think the Colts secondary isn't as good as advertised. I think like it's just a situation where I shouldn't even say as good as advertised, as good as the 7-1 team's secondary should be. But this is also traditionally a spot where Mike Tomlin gets his team up to play against teams like this right here. This is traditionally a spot for that. Just like it's always been traditionally been a spot for him to, to go out there and lay an egg against under 500 teams. So, yeah, I'm going to take the over in this one. And you know what? I'm going to do reverse psychology here. I'm going to take the Colts and the points. I'm going to take the Colts and the points. Take the Colts and the points. Just to be spiteful, just to be disrespectful.
He said reverse psychology.
Yeah, but I think like too, like you mentioned, man, like as far as like the Colts and like DK Metcalf and stuff, the Colts themselves, they rank 29th in receiving yards per game allowed to opposing wide receivers. So DK Metcalf has got to step up, man. I've seen a couple of things from him, man, over the last 2 weeks that have just got me absolutely infuriated. Infuriated, dude. Like literally on Thursday Night Football, you let a defensive back take the ball from you. Literally take the ball from you.
Yep,
You're supposed to be and again, DK Metcalf would absolutely kick my ass. So, but like you let this 180-pound shrimp take the ball from you on the Cincinnati Bengals on a primetime game, bro. What are we doing? So I think there's that. And I think like, if you're looking at like, obviously other plays and stuff like that, as far as this game, I think you can definitely throw in like, the Calvin Austins and Roman Wilsons. If you really want to throw like deep darts here, like in GPP plays, I think those guys are in business. But the guy that really scares me the most for the Colts today is Josh Downs. He's the guy that scares me the most. I know Alec Pierce, it is what it is. Joey Porter, I'm going to shut up in a second, but I just got to get it all off my chest. Joey Porter's probably going to get 3 flags today, probably. And Alec Pierce is probably going to draw him. And then you've seen what Tucker Kraft did on Sunday night. So, like, this is just a nightmare matchup, in my opinion, for the Steelers between yeah, you're right, Fizzle. You're right. You talk yes. I just think it's going to be one of those situations where like Daniel Jones is literally going to be able to pick where he wants to go and what he wants to do today. So this could get bad really quick. But DK Metcalf and Jalen Warner, they actually are the 2 highest owned players in this game at 15%. And then Tyler Warren is the highest owned Colt at 10%. So yeah, man, I don't mind playing Daniel Jones. I'm playing him a little bit on FanDuel in that space. So yeah, man, it's definitely going to be scary hours today. So just check on me because if this game gets out of hand quick, I don't even know, man. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's not looking good.
Ring, ring, ring.
Yeah.
Ring, ring. Yo, Johnny, you all right, brother? Steelers down 21-0, man. You gonna be all right? You gonna be good? All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, and like, I don't even know like where to even go like after that. If I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'll just watch another team. Like, yeah.
Not the same.
Not the same. You're right.
To a crap game we go. Carolina getting 12.5 on the road going to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. 43.5 is the over-under. No real news to report when it comes to injuries. And if I told you Daniel Jones would be where he is 8 weeks ago on the side here, you know what? Like we were, Johnny, in terms of like was getting it, like by like week 3 or whatever, it was like kind of like, all right, well, we got something here with Vanilla Vic now, right? Because there was something where we're like, all right, what's going on with this Colts here? Like, so yeah, that's we started getting there. So we were, a little bit behind the 8 ball, but at the same time, we got there eventually, and yeah, like. Crazy, yo. I would have probably been with a straw hat my dang self, out there with the corns as well. So it is what it is. Panthers, Packers in this matchup, like the Packers have shut down the running games, and we'll see if Rico Dowdle and these guys can get to it in this matchup. Packers, they are allowing only 78 yards rushing. That's 3rd in the NFL. Comes against the run. And also in this matchup, Jordan Love, man, like he is stellar against the blitz. Literally 13 to 2 touchdown interception rate against the blitz. So he's 4th best in this category when it comes to that. And yeah, like there's just, Josh Jacobs' situation, 7,700 DraftKings. Like, I'm not sure what's going on with this calf injury, but it's something to just monitor in general. Like, Emmanuel Wilson has been the one that was kind of salting the way the game last time we saw Green Bay. And I do think 7,700 is a bit rich for all the running backs we have on the slate today. But it wouldn't be shocking to see Josh Jacobs score 2 touchdowns in this matchup and literally be like, oh, okay, he's back. All right, like 5% ownership, and then all of a sudden one of the bigger guys, in terms of tiers today for running backs doesn't give us what we need. And they go, yep, should have played Josh Jacobs in this spot when they were double-digit favorite at home. But this is totally a spot where that could happen. So if you want to go a little contrarian today, Josh Jacobs is definitely the way to go. Carolina side, Bryce Young is back for Carolina, so that should improve some things. I know, Bryce Young is more the mobile quarterback, so the Packers won't be able to pin their ears back consistently to get after the quarterback. But it's still a spot where Carolina is just Carolina. Like they're just going to be one of those teams that, again, like they've shown, some toughness to them, but this is not the spot. Green Bay in the 12.5. I won't mess with it. I'll probably see it's down to a 7 and take Green Bay. But I'm not going to fully take the double digit because we've seen Green Bay in spots where they've kind of, laid down to their competition before. So this is like, I've seen that with them, Green Bay. This goes back to the Arizona game a couple weeks back. So I do like the tease down for Green Bay 2 to 7 to get off the double digit. But yeah, obviously Green Bay in this spot. Donnie, what do you say in this matchup?
Well, obviously I think one of the hot topics we had for, oh Lord.
Carolina barbecue. We'll do nothing.
I love it. I love it, Fizz. I love it, bro. I love it.
Yo, give me some pork ribs and some mac and cheese.
Oh man, you can't be out here disrespecting it like that, man. It's a pulled pork, baby. Give it the pulled pork, a little brisket out here.
I love the brisket, yo. Trust me. I love some burnt ends, man.
Barbecue
now.
Yeah,
I need barbecue now.
That's fire. No, I think like this is a spot, right? We talk about Jordan Love, his 5th in EPA versus zone coverage. Carolina, they play a lot of zone as well, 3rd most in the NFL. So I think this is a really good spot. You talked about Jordan Love cooking. I was going to say one of our topics during the offseason was Jordan Love or Dak Prescott.
We were both right.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, I think Dak has just been Dak has definitely been a better fantasy quarterback, but I think Jordan Love is definitely a better real life quarterback. And if you waited on quarterback and got Jordan Love, then hey man, life is probably okay for you, for sure. So I think like there's that. And then you were talking about just the Panthers defense. They've allowed 143 rushing yards before contact on design runs. But they did allow that against the Bills in week 8, and that was the most for any defense. So you talked about like just the Panthers overall. I think this might be a spot where they might try to stiffen up a little bit against the run today, man. And I could definitely see a spot. You talk about Bryce Young being mobile. Yeah, he is mobile, but that ankle sprain, I think it's one of those situations where he knows, like, Carolina, they're in a place where, like, again, it's probably going to like sound absolutely asinine, but like they're in a place where like the playoffs are not off the table for them. Like they still have something to play for. Right. So I think it's one of those situations where like he's coming back. Oh God, Fizz. I think it's one of those situations where, yeah, man, I like the Panthers. I know you were talking about like not to win the game, but like you were talking about teasing it down on the Green Bay side. I think you're talking about almost 13 points for the Panthers. I could see a space where they keep it competitive. I could see a space where they keep it competitive. I could also see a space where they score 43 points on the Panthers. I'm probably not going to put money on it, but like just for the general public, for me, I would say like 13 points. I could see a space. And plus, like Rico today, like getting the full workload. I think like that's one thing that like I'm really interested to see, because I think like I'll like to talk a lot about this is when things change personnel wise with teams, like sometimes it gives them like a boost, and like you're getting your guy back there, you're getting Bryce Young back, like everybody knows Rico is getting the rock in a lot of like in a majority of the situations today, as far as the running game. I think Canales came out and said that. I mean, he's still got a lot of love for Chuba Hubbard. Talked about like what he meant to this team. So I could definitely see a space where the Panthers might keep this one, super competitive, man. So like, I'm not opposed to that right there. And then like we talked about Jordan Love, man, just a quick call out on him just being a better real life quarterback. My man's got a 150 passer rating this season when targeting Tucker Kraft. That's insane.
That's wild.
Insane.
Not sustainable, but
yeah. But it's just like, it's crazy. Well, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So, so all that being said, man, we'll take a look at things like from the ownership side of the world. Tucker Kraft is obviously the highest owned player at 14% on this slate. Josh Jacobs, as you called out, 6% owned. The highest owned Carolina Panther, Ted McMillan, who quietly is putting together like a really solid rookie season for sure. And I think answering a lot of questions that people had about him, like where he played and like, the speed and like, could he be able to do these things? The guy looks like he's going to be like a bona fide, number one wide receiver for sure. And if Bryce Young continues to develop, he's going to be one of those names like we'll continue to hear quite a bit about. And then Rico Dowdle, nobody's playing him. I'll just put it at that right there, less than almost at 1% today. So, if you believe, or even if you want to run a game stack in this situation as well, like that's a great run back option because again, nobody's playing him today.
Yep. They sure aren't.
No.
They sure aren't. To a game that's going to be more defensive minded. Broncos coming in as the underdog, as a 1.5 point underdog going into Houston. The Texans and the over-under right now is 40.5. No Patrick Surtain. That's huge for a Nico matchup today. But the problem also is that Denver, their defense, like, is definitely top notch at getting after it. So it's gonna be a long day for CJ Stroud as well. Nico could still get there. It's just gonna take, again, it's gonna be more quick hitting stuff and eventually getting something over the field. But yeah, without Surtain, Denver is a defense that is something just gets. They're still potent, just like the other side of the ball for Houston. So they overall are still gonna get after it. According to Next Gen Stats, dating back to 2018. Denver's pressure rate is the best according to defenses, and their sack rate is an 11% in the era. So all that means is that it's going to be a long day for Houston's offensive line, and Denver can still get after it. Like as far as sacks go, like they've had plenty of them on the year. So I think that in a spot like. I like CJ Stroud usually at home. I just don't think this is a matchup, though. So give me Denver in this matchup straight up. And the over under 40.5 is a struggle. This is a classic spot where you're like, you want to say under, but this could get into a game where this could be a sneaky spot. So give me the over in this one because I do think that this should be a defensive struggle, but this is also opportunity to still, get there by a touchdown or so, whatever, like late, and then all of a sudden things start kicking up, things get, mismatched. There's one big play that happens and then it starts opening up a little bit. But yeah, give me Denver and give me over. For Houston, like again, it's just gonna be one of those situations that Schultz is questionable. Got to find out if he's playing or not. Jalen Nolan's someone that he can give you some separation. But I do think that for DFS purposes today, like all these guys are going to be cheap. J.K. Dobbins is someone that was kind of peeking out to me a little bit. I do kind of like him for anytime touchdown. That's an unofficial bet, but because he can get it in more than one ways. But yeah, this should set up for a game that's a little bit more like sluggish. So give me Denver in this one.
Yeah.
Your guy, Nico Collins, John. Yeah.
Both of my guys, man. Nico Collins and Cortland Sutton today, man. Yeah. Just didn't get a chance to get to as much Cortland Sutton this year as I wanted to. But yeah, man, Nico, again, love him to death, man. But, he's another guy that was on my all mid-season fantasy bus team. So far, man, in 2023, he had over 398 yards over his expected number. This year, he only has 8. And that's definitely scary for sure. And you talked about like both of these teams and defensively and what it is. This game has got underwritten all over it, man. Bo Nix is 27th, according to PFF, in relation to being under pressure. Houston is 7th in pressure rate. And then you flip it over and CJ Stroud is 30th as far as his PFF passing grade when facing of the blitz, and the Broncos blitz at the third highest rate. So I agree with you, man, 1,000%. Like, this is going to be one of those games where, it's probably going to go under. However, the one thing I will call out.
One thing I'll do, Snake.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is that I think, like, Bo Nix, him in the short passing game, he's thrown it short of the sticks on 51% of
his Franklin.
Yeah, it's 51% of his passes on third down, and that's the fifth most in the quarter. Is the fifth most as far as quarterbacks go this year. So I think, like, it is one of those situations where he's going to look to get the ball out quickly today. I think Troy Franklin obviously is definitely in play. What about Marvin Mims Jr.? What about Marvin Mims Jr.? Is he?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the report, but okay. So if that's the case,
I was out.
If that's the case, then let me see here. Hold on. I got you.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay, so then let's go back to Troy Franklin. Then let's go back to Troy. So Pat Bryant too. Pat Bryant's in play. If that's the case. So I think, like, obviously he'll be getting the ball out quick today. And who knows, man, maybe we might actually see another RJ Harvey sighting today. Obviously he showed up last week against the Dallas Cowboys. So if you had to play him, that worked out pretty well. So from an ownership side of things, ironically enough, Nick, the two highest owned players in this game. Want to take a guess?
Nico Collins and J.K. Dobbins. Oh, sorry, the defenses.
No, I was about to say the Broncos defense and the Texans defenses. So you're spot on, like, as far as that goes. Now, when you get the players, yeah, like, you're right on, like, in that space where it's Nico Collins at 3%, almost 4%, and then Troy Franklin at 2%. So again, this is a game. Nobody's touching this game. Can't blame them. And I see Haywood put out there in the chat, today's Nico Collins day. I wouldn't mind it, man. I definitely would not mind it, bro, because I definitely need it in one of my leagues for sure. With him and Brian Thomas Jr. being my two wide receivers, but that's another conversation for another day. So I'll take the under, and I'm just going to take the Broncos, man. I just think they're a better team. Yeah. I'm just going to take the Broncos straight up on the money line here and call it good, man.
I agree. Niners, Giants. Niners getting 2.5 going into, New York to take on the Giants. Over under is a cool 48.5. Like, some things I like about this one is really just like, it falls into, pace wise, both of these teams right now are top 5 in pace right now, if you believe that. Niners and the Giants. So this could spell for, a situation where points are definitely scored in a spot where I think people aren't going to be looking like heavily towards. Places I like in this game, obviously CMC, obviously Kittle, those guys as well. Wan'Dale Robinson, because the Niners they give up the third most yards to slot receivers. And the loss of, Cam Scatterbo should open things up for not only Tyrone Tracy, but especially Wan'Dale Robinson. I do think he's going to be a piece that goes probably a little bit overlooked today. And he could easily be slotted into, you can use that piece along with some other higher echelon receivers today to match up with some of the obviously chalk running backs today. So he fits into that category in that build pretty well. As far as the game goes, like, again, like, the Giants are a bit more tougher at home. We know that. And again, I expect this game to go definitely a bit more back and forth. Niners come off a loss where they came out a tough game to play. I think CMC gets back on track because, look, he was underutilized as well. Talking about running backs who were underutilized last week, Bijan and CMC, like, both of those guys were just underutilized last week for whatever reason. I don't know. Start paying attention to some of these men. But I'm saying, I start taking some notes. Like, I don't know. Are you sure? He didn't have an injury report, did he? I don't know. So gotta start taking some notes. I don't know. Gotta do some snitching. Hey,
try snitching. Let's get it.
Anyhow, give me the Niners in this one to cover. No, west to east is not always the best situations. But give me the Niners to cover. They're in a spot where, again, like, the Niners, they keep on moving. They keep on doing their thing. They can find themselves in a decent spot for the playoff push. Losing this one, and it's just going to be a situation where, like, they got to keep up with their own division. Seattle, Cardinals and stuff like that still trying to make way. Obviously, the Rams, of course. So it's one of those games where you got to have it on the road in a tougher environment, hostile environment because it's New York. New York / New Jersey. And Giants, like, they're playing for some pride still, obviously. So, but give me the Niners, give me them a cover. Over under is really tricky. Like, I say a slight under. I think I got this like 45 projection wise. So it's going to be really close. So if it goes over, it goes over. If it's under, call me Roses, baby.
Rose
baby.
Rose Day. Oh.
All right, yo. What do you say to this, James Gotti? What you got, my man?
You talked about Wan'Dale. He's got the most receiving yards in the NFL from the slot. San Francisco is the worst in that space. So whoever it is that lines up in the slot today should be getting ready to get some action. So I definitely like that call for sure. Christian McCaffrey, he is defying logic and he is defying history right now at this point in time, which is one of the things that I said, hey, like if you believe that's what's going to happen with him and Derrick Henry, then I would have voted Derrick Henry versus Christian McCaffrey. So no, Christian McCaffrey right now, 48%. Of the scrimmage touches for the San Francisco 49ers. And there's actually only been two players that have had a higher rate. That's Josh Jacobs in 2025 and Derrick Henry in 2022. So he is defying history and still, kind of keeping the San Francisco 49ers team alive, like as you talked about. It's a tough race for them out there for sure. And then the other guy, man, is Juwan Jennings, man, today. He gets targeted at a higher clip versus man coverage, and the Giants, they play a lot of that today. So that's a place that maybe you can get to. Maybe he can finally get there. And of course, man, I have sitting him in a couple of spots. So of course today will be the day. So everybody that's watching, you guys can all thank me for that right there. Don't worry, I got y'all. I'll put it out there for the people. Christian McCaffrey, the highest owned player here in this space, man, at almost 27%, which I would expect that number to probably be floating around over 30 once kickoff hits. And then Tyrone Tracy was an interesting chalk play. So I'll just kind of pause. 5,000 for Tyrone Tracy. You in or out? Me too. Same.
I just got to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jackson Dart's gonna like consistently pepper him with some targets underneath. And then the Niners, they're beat up and stuff like that, but they're still a respectable defense in my mind. So I'm just not. There's so many other spots that I don't have to go here.
Yeah,
this is chalk.
Yeah.
I will go somewhere else because I can.
Yeah, that's fair. And as you talking about like the over under for this game, like Jackson Dart, 67% completion, 4 touchdowns, no interception, and a 104 QB rating when not pressured. Well, the 49ers, they only pressure quarterbacks at 25%, which is the lowest clip in the NFL. So there is definitely a pathway here for Jackson Dart today, Wan'Dale Robinson. So I do think there is a pathway, obviously, for this game to get over. When you look at just the scenarios and the situation, George Kittle is still out here too. Like I know he got the touchdown last week, but he's still kind of easing his way back into things. So this would be my dark horse as far as games go that, potentially could go over. And the price tag specifically on the Giants players is not very high. I think there's a lot of different ways you can get there. But I'm going to take the Niners in this spot for sure. And I'm going to get risque today. I'm going to take the over. Risque. I'm going to get risque and take the over in this spot, man.
I don't mind it. Like I said, it will be a little close. But, I mean, it can totally get there because of the pace. And that's how I see that too. So, Bears-Bengals, a game that's setting up for, another high over-under, 51.5.
Yeah, he agrees. Yeah, she agrees.
There she is.
Yeah, she agrees.
Bears, Bengals. Bears getting 2.5 on the road. Going to Cincinnati. Joe Flacco is officially starting today. There was a lot of talk about his throwing shoulder this week coming into the matchup, so just got to be wary about that. But as far as both these teams go, like Bengals have been, when Joe Flacco's been there, all these Bengals weapons get a boost. And now they're going to match up with the Bears, where Bears have been a very susceptible defense, like bottom 5 when it comes to, deep ball throw rates. And Flacco has consistently peppered Chase, consistently peppered Higgins, and gotten Chase Brown back to where hopefully we can consistently put him at. But yeah, I mean, look, the Bears on the other side of things, like they overall come into a matchup where now also hearing that Hendrickson's not playing today. So that's also going to be a big thing for them and their offensive line. And this offense, no DeAndre Swift. So obviously the chalky of all chalks today, Kyle Monangai, 4,600. Like he's just a free square at this point. Like, like I said earlier, the Bengals are the worst run defense right now in the NFL. And it's just a spot where, you just have to play him. Like if he's still sitting on waivers, what are you doing? You have permission to get off this podcast right now to see if he's available.
Damn, we kicking folks out. Damn.
Just come back. Just come back.
I was about to say, damn, we're trying to get people too. Why you trying to kick people out of here?
No, I'm not kicking them out. I'm just telling them to come back.
Oh shit.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that being said, I mean, like, I guess give me the Bengals in this spot here. I guess give me this spot. The Bears are just like a team that I just can't figure out yet. They overall there's also a stat where the last 3 games for the Bears, they've committed 30 penalties. So they're a team that they're lacking that discipline right now. And, again, the matchups for, Tariq Stevenson has been nice in the back end for Chicago, but who else is going to be covering Higgins and all these other guys for weapons? And if Flacco's good to go, he's good to go. It's going to be a long day for the secondary for the Bears who according to next gen stats, they give up the 3rd most receiving yards in the game right now. So yeah, I just don't have it's just one of those things where I'm like, all right, give me the Bengals, but I'm not exactly the most confident in. And there's that. Johnny, what are you saying in this game?
I'm going to take any opportunity I can to absolutely shit on the Cincinnati Bengals. So I will take this opportunity.
I know you are.
To shit on the Cincinnati Bengals on top of a get right spot for my guy.
Listen to him.
Probably. Hayward, I got love for you, man. I got love for you, but, I just think this is – you asked about the Bears and you were just talking about, how to get a good read on them. Well, I can tell you what the read is on them, man. They are a team that they beat bad teams and they lose to good teams. And for as sexy as Cincinnati is sexy, but they don't have a personality. So that's what it is. They're a very shallow team.
Are the Ravens a good team now?
I would say so. I think most people out there now, feel very strong about them being able to go on a run. And I put respect on them even before Lamar got back. You know what I mean? Until when they played, I think it was Houston that week, and CJ Stroud had the big week until the Kyle Hamiltons and the Stanleys. I was like, okay, that's too much. I can't deal with that. And even them, right? Hanging around with the Rams a couple weeks ago. So I still put respect on their name. I don't like them. But I put respect on them. But the Bengals are just a bad team. They have, obviously, we know what they got, man. So I ain't even going to go into that. But defensively, they're just a nightmare. And Caleb Williams, this is a great spot for him. It's a great spot for DJ Moore. Roma Dunze, who started off the season absolutely just in fuego. It's been a little bit slower for him as well. So I think it's a great get right spot for those guys. And then you talk about Chase Brown, this is a great spot for him going against the Bears defense. So this is just a game I love all together. So I'm just going to try to find ways to get pieces of this game, whether it's through a game stack or obviously maxed out in the GPP entries, as I said earlier, even if it's one piece or just an onslaught, whatever. I'm finding ways to get to this game here today because there's too much goodness in this game to not get to, in my opinion, for sure. And Monangai, he's probably going to be damn near 50% owned. And we seen what happened last week when the chalk busted with Bijan, but that was high price chalk. So this is lemon pepper chalk right here. So I think we'll be all right. The Jamar Chase at 25%.
Lemon pepper chalk, yo.
Yeah, lemon pepper chalk. Yeah. Then we got Jamar Chase at 25%.
Yeah.
And then Caleb Williams at 13%. You talked about Flacco. I think obviously he's a spot that you can get to. You just have to be concerned about the shoulder situation, especially at that age, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, moving down, DJ Moore, 3% owned. Chase Brown, nobody's playing him. So and then the guy that I actually want to call out actually real quick is Noah Fant. Fant is targeted the 9th most among tight ends. Chicago, their defense ranks 28 in yards allowed per route. run. So, like, I think Fan is a really good play today if you want to look at getting a little bit different at tight end, or if you just want to find some ways to kind of be able to stack things up with Flacco and Chase or T. Higgins, which I love T. Higgins today as well. I think this is going to be a really good spot for him. So yeah, man, overall for the game, I'm going to take the Bears, and I'm going to take the Bears with confidence, because I just feel like that's the Bears' MO, is like they beat up on bad teams. They win against bad teams. It's not great, but they win the game. Just like they did like with Dallas and stuff like that a couple weeks ago. And I think the Commanders game, they might've got a little bit lucky. So, give me the Bears. And I'd even take the Bears with the 2.5 in this game too, man.
Okay. All right. So you're on the Bears.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I hate him. Not because I hate him.
Not because he hates him. Saints, I believe it's 14.5 now, but we'll just keep it at the 14 for the moment. Double check your books, people. Saints, 14 points, double digits. Underdog going into SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams. 43.5 over under. News that Spencer Rattler is being benched now for Tyler Schaff today. What a way to put him in the fire. Going on the road. Get a team coming off a bye.
Go get him, rookie. Go get him.
Yeah, pretty much. Go get him. Go get this win for us. Yeah, so there's that. Rams coming off the bye at home in a cushy matchup. Saints, defensively, according to metrics, they're still middle of the pack for defenses via the pass. But Puka Nacua, even though he hasn't played the last couple of games, and obviously, they had the bye week, still leads all receivers when it comes to, targeted percentages, when it comes to target ball rate. So, yeah, like the Rams should roll. It's all about how much. And the Kyron Williams, someone you have to watch out for in this matchup. He was getting some steam earlier on in the week when I saw some ownerships for him, but I think that died down a little bit because of all the value that's opened up. He's still someone that I might still be like, all right, well, this might be the pivot of the week. But it's something where, again, like, I think if the Rams control the line of scrimmage, which is totally possible because the Saints offensive line is one of the worst in the league right now. That's also like one of their huge problems. Like, I don't really think it's a quarterback. I really just think it's the offensive line. Spencer Rattler had some games where he was being productive. It's just like this offensive line is definitely trash. So there's that. But yeah, give me the Rams in this spot. I'll get the over because I do think that in garbage time the Saints could put up a few points as well in this spot. But yeah, that's what I got. What you got, Johnny?
Yeah, I like the Saints.
Love you too.
The Saints in this spot, it's going to be tough sledding for them. 4 out of their last 5 games, they haven't hit 21.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
It's all good, brother. It's all good, man. That's all good. Yeah, they haven't even put up 21 points in 4 of their last 5 games. The last time they did put up more than 21 points was against the Giants in Week 5, and they threw up 26 points. And I think it's going to be a very similar situation here with the Rams. And then, you flip it over to the other side and you look at the Rams offensively, right? Another guy that, like, I didn't hate, and I still don't hate, but I just don't ever love playing him on my fantasy teams, Matt Stafford. The Saints have blitzed 33% of the time on dropbacks this season. That's the 9th highest in the NFL. Well, bad news for the Saints. Matt Stafford still for 465 yards and an NFL high 12 touchdowns against the blitz. So, bad news. Come up with a different game plan against Matt Stafford here today. But I think this one is kind of a no-brainer, right? Like the Rams. And I like your call with Kyron, too. He actually has jumped up to 16% owned in this game on DraftKings. Him and Puka are right at the same space. But I do like Kyron a lot here. So I think this is one of those games, right, where obviously the Rams are at home. Should get a lot of work here. And then obviously, too, I think the Rams will just want to see where Puka's at. Like, what a good opportunity to get him back out there, get him a couple quick targets, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, man, this is not going to be good for Hawk Shock. Because I think that's what it's going to be, man, is he's going to be Chucky. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like there ain't a stat I could pull that would even suggest that the Saints got a shot. Like there ain't even a stat.
Oh, wow.
There's negative 81 in point differential, man. 15th in average margin of victory. They're 26th in the league in penalties. Like, just like I can't. I got nothing, man. And Alvin Kamara, another guy who was on my all midseason fantasy bus team. I think we kind of
high on him.
I think we seen the writing on the wall, but I think too, right? Like I think we thought that there could be a space where like the check downs would be there, and he's actually on pace to have like the second least amount of receptions that he's ever had in his entire career. So this is not good. It is not good. And who knows, man? Who knows? Do you think this is
tempted to kind of take his receptions, honestly. I think it's like a 2.5 or something. Like,
imagine a world where that was the thing. And last thing I'll ask before you get ready to go to the next game.
Yeah.
What do you think, man? Do you think it's Shaheed or you think it's Olave that's gone?
I think it's Shaheed because there was more. When I saw some more headlines, it seemed like the camps were more inclined to keep Olave than Shaheed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unfortunately, probably Shaheed, but I don't know, man. These situations are always interesting. You know, could be just like, hey, trying to garner more interest on a certain guy to get their value up or whatever. Or it could be like, all right, we're not moving him at all, but it'd be nice to see what we can get for him. So, fielding offers, you know how those things go. Last two games, Jags, Raiders. Jags and Raiders. Look, coming into this one, pretty high on how the Raiders can potentially bounce back in this spot. The Jaguars still, pass defense-wise, are still one of the better ones still in the league. Higher middle of the league when it comes to passing yards allowed. With the Jags, they overall come into this game as a 3-point favorite going into Las Vegas. And no Travis Hunter. There's that. Brian Thomas has a shoulder injury that I just don't know. Watching the tape and then watching him over the last couple of weeks, like it just hadn't really. It's not really. I'm not sure if it's all the way there mentally and stuff. Like I know he came out and balled out before the bye, as well, but it was something where I'm not sure if that was more of him or more of like Travis Hunter being able to open more things up for him, stuff like that. So unfortunately, now we may not, know what really is what. But in terms of how we see this game in general, expect the Jags to come out and win this one. They just, Trevor Lawrence and these guys, gonna have to put it all together for these guys to get a dub here. The guy for season-long purposes, like we're talking about, obviously the Travis Hunter injury, like Parker Washington, Denami Brown, if they're somehow still out there on your waivers, go pick up one of them. Parker Washington in this matchup, I like. Parker Washington for the Raiders. Raiders give it the second most fantasy points per game to opposing slot receivers. And Parker Washington has had 2 games already where he's had double-digit targets, including the last game before the bye. So yeah, I would say give me the Jags here in this spot. And also Denami Brown is still be a guy that can, let loose a little bit deep throw-wise. Brock Bowers back in this matchup, right? 5K on DK. I think that's a spot where I'm not sure what his ownership is, Johnny, but I think that's somewhere like I do think that with the Raiders potentially, in a spot where their game script wise going to be throwing the football like a ton, while he's healthy, that is a bargain price tag for Brock Bowers in the late window. So there's that. I mean, Genty 6,700 is also a spot where it's not the best spot, but it's something that's very contrarian, especially come out the bye. So I have to watch out what the usage is like. So I'm hopeful that he could get to a spot where he can consistently be one of the better running backs moving forward after this week. So there's that. But yeah, give me the Jags. Give me the slight over because I do think that the Raiders can have a chance to have a backdoor situation comes to points. But I do think the line is a little bit low for the Jags, I would say, even though they're going on the road. What are you saying to this game, Johnny, before we get to the plethora?
I like the Jags in this spot, obviously. I know, right? I know. I like the Jags in this spot, man. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to be old the last 2 weekends, and I can't wait to be old over the next 2 weeks. Can't wait. Yeah. No, I like the Jags in the spot, man. I think it's kind of hard. I think it's kind of hard not to like them. Yeah. The one thing, like, you called out a lot about like the Jags receivers. One of the things like I'll call out is just Trevor Lawrence. And his struggles against zone and Vegas plays. I think they play like the 5th most zone. So it's not like a great match.
It's cover 3.
Yeah,
ton of fun to play.
it's not the best matchup for Trevor Lawrence. Like when you look at it and just kind of think like, oh, like that would like this matchup works. Like it's actually not. I mean, he's completed 125 out of 209 passes so far on the season against zone coverage for 1,200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So I think this is more of a Travis Etienne game. Is what I think. I think this is a nice spot for him for sure. And you mentioned Brock Bowers. Like I think the price tag is really good on him, and if he is completely healthy, then like I think like it is going to be a fun day to watch him play. But yeah, like I like the Jags in the spot. I'm playing a lot of Travis Etienne today, so obviously like I'm hoping that pops off for sure. Yeah, there's not really a lot left to say else about this game because it's not very sexy.
Yeah, it's not. That's why we're going to move on to the showdown of slates today between two teams that has particularly playoff implication. Chiefs going on the road to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Chiefs coming in as the slight road favorite, -1.5 in Buffalo. Obviously, a lot of things to go over in this one. Rashee Rice is obviously someone that if you waited for him to come back from the suspension, you are very, very pleased with the outcome that he's been producing so far. The Chiefs in general just look like a totally different offense from last year already.
Yeah.
When you look at last year, they were like just barely getting by, it felt like at times. Sluggish, the offense looking like all of it. But obviously Rice was obviously not there. So it's funny that, now he comes back and then everybody starts getting open again. Travis Kelce starts getting things down the sideline because people forget about him. And yeah, so this matchup, right? So Pacheco's out for this one. Chiefs running backs, right? Kareem Hunt's going to have his share of getting, first touches with the football on this one. Rashard Smith is someone we have to watch out for, where I'm hoping the week is coming. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be nice to happen now, but not really, because the Chiefs go on by next week. So it's like, oh yeah, he had a great game, and now I gotta wait 2 weeks to play him again. It's like, oh, wonderful. But yeah, the Chiefs, the overrun right now 52.5, highest on the slate. When it comes to DFS purposes, a lot to like. Sometimes in these matchups, though, like not all the pieces get there for these marquee high scoring matchups, though. So that's something like just to be a little more of a caveat than anything else. But Josh Allen always been good against the Chiefs when it comes to at least running the football as well. Like he's averaged I believe 36 rushing yards on average against the Chiefs, where he's also had plenty of outputs where he's fantasy wise killed them. I believe 30 fantasy points per game in spots like this where they're definitely close in the last several years. So there's a spot where obviously it's Allen, Mahomes, and then it's like all the other QBs potentially for less when it comes to a DFS side of things. That being said, Johnny, who you got and why?
Oh, man, I hate this game right here. I hate this game right here.
I hate this game. Why? Why do you hate this game, dog?
I hate this game because, like, this is always one of those spots, like you mentioned it, man, where it's always like, it looks like it's so good on paper.
Yeah.
And then the game hits, and it's 21-17.
Yep. And exactly.
21-17. And then Rashee Rice has 63 yards, and then Josh Allen has 190 yards and 1 touchdown, and Patrick Mahomes has 210 yards and 2 touchdowns, and and not even Ray Davis, Tyler Johnson scores a touchdown, Dawson Knox, it feels like one of those spots for me. I just think right now, I just think the Chiefs are just like you mentioned it, man. I just think they're rolling, bro. I think they're rolling. And I think this is also one of those games, obviously, where Josh Allen he gets his team up for these type of games. But I just think right now, man, the Chiefs are just they can do a lot of different things. And that creates a lot of problems. And that's when Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes operate at their best. Oh, you think it's going to be all Rashee Rice? All right, well, hey, man, we'll take one over the top with Xavier Worthy. Oh, okay, cool. You want to play this deep? Well, hey, man, we'll just move it 12, 15 yards down the field, man, with Travis Kelce and, and Juju. All right, cool. Well, now you want to play up? All right, well, cool. You want to give us a light box? All right, that's cool. So I just think, Like it's
constant adjustments.
It
Constant
literally, man, literally. And I just think like for the Bills right now, the one thing, James Cook, I feel like he's always played good against the Chiefs. So I think like that's a good call out is there. And then like obviously just to see like bro, listen, I know.
I believe the last 2 to 3, I think actually the last game was obviously playoffs.
Yeah.
We just gotta be careful about those because I gotta double check to find out if that last game was definitely no, it wasn't playoff the last one, huh?
No, it wasn't.
It was. It was.
Didn't they play in the regular season last year too?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And that was 30-21 Buffalo. Okay. That was a game that I think that came down to like Josh Allen making a big play, and then all of a sudden they pretty much like, they just squashed the game late. So they could have scored a touchdown that game, and then they didn't, just chewed the clock out. So but like you were saying, John, bro, it's gonna come down to the little tiny bits of overall adjustments in game where it's like, okay, you're covering this guy, like, okay, like cool, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever. Like so yeah, like it's weird. It's totally weird. But what I'll say is that I'm taking the Chiefs here this one. Call me crazy, I guess. But it's just one of those things where the Chiefs are playing really hot football. I know Buffalo could easily get this one. I just think that I know James Cook has played tough in these matchups. The Chiefs defense, run defense, though, is giving me some nice confidence with them to be like, all right, if you shut down James Cook, if you find a way to, slow down Josh Allen.
Right.
And they're at home, so I think it's just one of those things where Chiefs should find a way to get this done. If they don't, again, it's going to be one of those things where, Buffalo's the king of the regular season, but can't get done the postseason. So
classic Buffalo.
It's going to be one of those interesting cases. I do like the under slightly because I could be really wrong by halftime in this game.
But dude, I hear you. I hear you.
But I'm willing to kind of be like, this is, it's going to be one of those situations where it's like, I'm just going to take the under. That's what I feel in my gut. So that's what I'm going to take, the Chiefs and the under.
Can't wait for Keon Coleman and Juju Smith-Schuster to break the slate today. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Literally, though. Literally. Oh, yeah. Literally. So, what did I say? So the that's what we got. That was the last game. So we will be overall going over to Nick's Prop Shop. The Prop Shop is 59% still in the year. We came back a little nicely as well. Previously on Monday, we went 3-1 on that slate. Stupid Debo, man. Stupid Washington. Anyhow, enough of that griping session. Core 4 bets for week 9 as follows. I got Geno Smith over 222 passing yards. Double check your books for where it might stand because it may have changed, may have not. But with Geno Smith, clearly it's one of those situations. Jags give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks, but they give up an average of 254 yards through the pass and 2 touchdowns on average for the Jags. So give me the over 222.5 for Geno. Next, I got Brock Bowers in that same game. This is just too low of a line for Brock Bowers. If he's healthy, if he's good to go, they're coming off the bye week. Brock Bowers should be ready to roll. Jaguars, again, they play a ton of cover 4, so there's some underneath things that should happen for Brock Bowers for him to hit this line. They gotta give the ball to him consistently, so I definitely expect the 55.5 is just a bit too low. Rashee Rice, over 6.5 receptions. This is an easy one. He consistently is involved in the offense since he's been back. And when it comes to Rashee Rice, he's someone that, he's stellar against man and zone. Buffalo plays zone on 72% of the snaps this season. So give me Rashee Rice in a spot where, he should get a ton of targets, a lot of volume. They're going to use him in motions, obviously. And even packages where they play tight, like Rashee Rice can still have one-on-ones on the outside to hit this, 6.5 catches over. Kamani Vidal, over 100 total yards from scrimmage, so rush and receiving. Love this line because I do think that, Vidal, we talked about him earlier as being just game script proof. And in a matchup where they should be leading, Vidal should just be getting all the work, all the volume. So I like Vidal for over the 100 total yards. Justin Herbert in the same vein, in a spot where I do think Herbert can get this spot either way. The Chargers keep on passing the football. So in neutral, pass game scripts, they are still a top 5 offense in passing when it comes to neutral game script via the air. So give me Justin Herbert over 244 passing yards. Jalen Warren, 80 plus total yards or more. Like we talked about earlier, Jalen Warren is one of the most efficient backs in the NFL. It shows up for a game spot for where if the Steelers are going to be, playing from behind, one of the things that Rodgers is going to like to do is get dump offs to Jalen Warren for some big yards after the catch. And then obviously with Metcalf down the field. So give me Jalen Warren for the total yardage, because even in a game that's, supposed to be 50 and a half over under, do like Jalen Warren to hit this total yards over. Jared Goff, 239 passing yards or over or more. So I said it earlier. Lions have been averaging 30 points per game in the last 5 matchups with the Vikings. And Jared Goff has hit this every time. So yeah, give me that. The plus money is 250 as well on DraftKings. So if you like that, do that as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, that same vein, over 78.5 receiving yards. Look, again, the Vikings could be down to their third, fourth corners today. So I do like this spot for Amon-Ra anytime. In these matchups and spots, Amon-Ra has gotten it done here as well. Bo Nix, over 21.5 rush yards. Texans, they overall, as far as their defense goes, is still obviously elite, but they are very vulnerable against QB runs. They give up the most yardage per carry, 6.7 yards per carry to opposing quarterbacks. Bo Nix, there's a lot of ways you can get to this spot. You can get this as well, whether it be the bootlegs and him coming off those, undesigned runs or even design runs for Bo Nix. There's a lot of ways that Bo Nix can get over the 20-something yards rushing here. So give me that. Few more we got. Parker Washington over 3.5 receptions. Talked about it earlier. Raiders are very susceptible to opposing slot corners. Give second most fantasy points per game to the opposing slot receivers. So give me Parker Washington. Obviously no Travis Hunter. The 10 targets the week before the bye that Parker Washington had. This should set up for a nice spot for him to succeed. Over 39.5 receiving yards for Bijan Robinson. Patriots love to take away their best weapons. That could be Drake London today. That could be Bijan Robinson. They're going to find ways to try to get both, obviously, eliminated. But with Bijan, before the Miami game, he's hit this line. He's averaged 39.5. So this is a line he's averaged throughout the season for receiving yardage. So definitely like Bijan Robinson in the spot where the Falcons are going to find a way to stay in the game. It should be where check downs to Bijan with the Patriots just, most likely stuffing the run consistently. So I like that. My final one, Chase Brown, over 80 total yards on scrimmage. He's hit this in back-to-back games since Flacco's been the starter. This game sets up for a 51.5 over-under. So this is a spot where this could be a back-and-forth game. And with Chase Brown, I'm not saying he's game script proof like Vidal is right now, but he's in that same vein. So got a lot of props here. So be responsible. Like I said, the core 4 bets are as follows again. I got Geno, Bowers in that same game. Got Rashee Rice, and I got Vidal. Those are the core 4s, and then everything else. So that being said, appreciate y'all, of course, staying with the show. And that being said, we are looking to do a single entry DraftKings lineup today for the 1 p.m. slate for everyone that stayed with us. So Johnny, kick us off, my guy.
All right. So yeah, we're getting ready to hit a single entry here on DraftKings. So walk with me if you don't mind.
Walk with
me. All right. So single entry today. All right. So I mentioned a couple games that I really enjoyed and I really wanted to get to. Cincinnati and Chicago is definitely one of those games. So I'm just trying to find a way to be able to get there in some respects. So actually I will start off, as you mentioned, man, with Chase Brown. I think that's a really good place to start off with. In a situation where there's a lot of points to be had here. So I think obviously a lot of people are going to be playing Chase, which makes sense.
Yep.
So I'm going to do that. Hey, it makes perfect sense to get there. But I think like when I play these type of lineups, man, like I'm looking to try to take down. So I always just try to look to find like what are ways to not play like the same thing that everyone else is playing, or to be a part of games just to be a little bit different. And I think Chase Brown is like a really good starting point for me, just in that space. Just when you talk about like where he's at as far as where he's at like with ownership. So again, single entry can be a little bit different for those of you guys that all do play out there. And if you are playing and it's like your first time playing or whatever the case may be, or looking around, like I always recommend the fact of playing single entry versus like GPP, because like if you just play one lineup in a GPP, like that's like throwing a needle into a haystack, man, for sure. So
I like money on fire, whichever one it is.
Hey, whatever you like, right? So there's that. And then another place I'm going to go that I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier. We just kind of talked about it. Ladd McConkey in Tennessee. I like that game a lot, and I like the Chargers in that space. And I think you got to get there. You got to get one of those pass catchers today. You could obviously go with Keenan Allen or Quentin Johnston, whoever in that space. So I really like that. So that's another great pick that I like in that game, because obviously we expect the Chargers to win, and it's should put up a ton of points. So then I'm going to look at wide receivers here. So like we obviously have somebody in the Cincinnati and Chicago game. Rome Odunze, man, like we talked about a little bit earlier, this might be the least expensive that he's been in quite a while. And he's been kind of quiet over the last couple of days. So I'm going to continue to keep building on this game here. And now I got a nice little run back option with Rome. 6,600. Still haven't like really like broke the bank yet in this space. So so I like this. I like this right here so far. Like we got a little bit of action there. What thoughts so far, Nick?
Yeah, keep going, bro.
Oh yeah. All right, cool.
Rome wasn't like high, but I can understand where you would like to play him. 6,600 is like we'll see, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, man, one of my favorite games of the day. So just standing on business there in that spot.
I hear that.
And then this is
nice little mini stack with Chase Brown.
Yeah, and this is the spot where, like, in my gut, like, I really want to play Kamani Vidal as well, because I think, like, for 6,300, that is a nice price. But then you have Travis Etienne at 5,600. And so I'm like, oh, man, all right. So, like, where do we want to go? What do we want to do?
I honestly would probably want to go your boy Jalen Warren here.
Okay. All right. I dig that.
I mind Jalen Warren, the spot 5,500. I don't think the ownership's going to get there for him. In the spot where, again, like I said, with the Pittsburgh, like I think they're going to be in a spot where they're going to have to, consistently pepper him if they get behind game script wise. So that's just set up for Jalen Warren to have over, like I said, I think he could have easily over 100 scrimmage yards today. So.
All right, so we'll go Jalen Warren. I'll let you get that one because I probably would just. Even though I hate this,
you can still fit Vidal in there.
Yeah, well, it's either Vidal, or the other place like I like to get to. I was going to get there would be David Montgomery, or obviously our very chunky Travion Henderson. So like I think there's a couple of options you can hit to pay down. I worry about Travion obviously. But again, man, like we got to have a piece of chalk in this lineup. We got to have a piece of chalk. So it's either Monangai, Henderson, or David Montgomery. Let's just go with
Monangai then.
You want to go Kyle Monangai here? So now
he's the free square.
All right. So now this means for me anyway. The way I like to do this is like if that's the case, if we're going to play two running backs from the same game, now that means we got to get off of Chase Brown, because a lot of times like that can get a little bit risque. So. Final call. We're going Kyle Monangai and Chase Brown, or not but Monangai or Chase Brown.
Let's keep Chase Brown.
I'm keeping Chase Brown. So we're gonna move to Travion Henderson then. I think that's a good move here. So we'll move there. I'll bounce the tight end real quick because I think that's the spot, and I'll give you this one here. I'll give you this
Brock
one here.
Bowers probably, or George Kittle.
All right. So you're the tight end guy. So we go Brock Bowers. So now this makes it a little bit easier for me now to go back. To go now.
Brock Bowers. I'm standing on this. Yeah. I mean, I know I don't even know, but it's like I know George Kittle is great against man coverages, and the Giants play that a ton. Like,
all right. So now because we went Bowers, I'm going to go ATN. So we got like pieces in that game right there in case something pops off. So obviously now we just got to find us a receiver and we got to find us a quarterback, which I like this situation that we got right now because I think it lines us up to either have obviously Justin Herbert or Caleb Williams, which I don't even have to say how much I love him in that spot. So I think we're just going to go ahead and just go Caleb Williams, which he's probably going to be a very chalky play. So now we got wide receiver now, and we got 5,100 left, where that's the average price at this point is 5,100, and we don't have a defense. So you want to pop a defense and see what we got, or you want to go ahead and rip this wide receiver?
Yeah, Caleb Williams definitely has a nice stack too. The crazier thing I was considering was actually a Dart Wandell Robinson stack, but.
So what's the? Well, how about this? How about we just throw Wandell in there now?
Okay,
call it good, and then defensively we can go anywhere we want to go, and we still have some money left over.
And then we still have some time to make some changes. So Caleb, yeah.
So I'll just pop the Chargers in there because that's a high end defense. So this is just worst case scenario for me. I like to do this just to be like, okay, like if I had nothing, or the minimal amount, like what place would I like to go back and make some changes to?
Okay. That makes sense too.
So all right, so 56.
Everything looks good right now, but
yeah.
I guess
let's see something.
I guess for me, I like Travis Etienne, but he's probably the one out of all this that I'm like, I would probably want to see where else we can go.
So 6,800. We got Kyron Williams, so we can get there. Or we can get to Kamani Vidal as well, so we could have a double stack there in that space. Or not double stack, but we have two players there. So we could either go Kamani Vidal or Kyron Williams. Or we could go T. Higgins. And now, that looks a little bit more sexy for me. But
T. Higgins or who? To take out what? Who? Wanda?
Oh, well
we're talking about flex.
Yeah, we can put him in the flex, yeah.
Don't mind that either. But where's Higgins here? I'm trying to follow.
5,900.
5,900.
Yeah.
1,100 left.
So if we put him in there, we got 1,100 left.
Yeah.
And then if we wanted to see what it looks like now, if we wanted to make any moves with our defense or any of the other places, we could, because we can always make another move. Although now, if we play a Jacksonville defense, we're going against Bowers, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I probably don't want to do that.
Oh, actually, I got it. We could either go Texans. We could either go Texans defense or Broncos defense, which is two pay down spots. They should probably give us two pretty good numbers. So what if we go Broncos defense?
Denver Broncos.
Yeah. So we got the Broncos defense now. And we still got 1,700 left.
This should be interesting. We still have 1,700 left. Ooh, boy. This is the problem with this dang freaking slate.
Yeah, I know.
Got a lot of money left. I'm not sure you don't always have to use all of it, but
no, we don't have to. No, we don't have to. But I just think getting to the Cincinnati Chicago game was the priority for me. And then anything in the Tennessee game, I like that as far as the Chargers side of things go. Let's see what happens if we move off of Travion. Let's see what we got. If we move off of Travion, then we can get Vidal. So we can get Vidal. And so now we got Vidal McConkey. All right. And now we only got $300 left. And now we have, I don't know how you feel. I know how I feel about Vidal today. And I think you have a pretty good feeling about Chase Brown. So now we have two pieces in. Yeah. So we have, two pieces there. So 4 players in that Cincinnati Chicago game. We did like the San Francisco Giants game, as a possibility to shoot out. Yeah. Or even we can try the Jackson Dart and Wandell and see what else that brings us to. And if not, then I think we got a pretty good stopping point. So let's see what that looks like. Let's see if we go Jackson Dart versus Caleb Williams, which it seems like a lot of times, on DraftKings, the more that you pay down at quarterback, a lot of times it seems like there's some benefits to that. So now we got that. So now we got 800. And now where would we move? There's not really a lot to move because we're locked into that Cincinnati Chicago game. Unless we go off a tiny.
Trusting Caleb, man.
Oh, well, for me today, I think there's. Well, actually, what about this? I got another one. Hold on. What if we try this? What if we try Jordan Love?
Ooh,
Tucker Craft.
Interesting.
And then we're over $800 now.
Yeah, we're over $800.
Yeah, we're over. That's all right. I think we got something here. We're there. So we could either move off a Lad or Vidal. And if we move off Vidal, then we're going chalk. But if we move off a Lad, then we can move down to maybe like a Keenan Allen and see what that looks like. Nope, he's still a little bit too pricey. Or we can go with QJ.
Boy, yo. Oof.
Yeah.
You know, I guess. All right. Question.
What's up?
Worthy or Higgins?
Probably. I like Worthy today, low key. But I do like Higgins. So what, can we get to Worthy? Yeah, Worthy's cheaper.
$200 cheaper. I know. Okay.
All right.
I know.
All right, let's do it.
I know, but only because we were talking about this the last time we talked about the Chiefs, and we liked them back then, and I think he definitely goes on their own today.
Yeah,
and I think that's just an underpriced situation.
All right, so now our flex spot, we don't have a lot of. There's not a lot of.
Do you still want to go Bowers or Kraft? Or we got Jordan Love in there.
Yeah, if we did this, let's go back to Bowers, and then I'll stop messing around with stuff, and we'll lock this up because I got to get ready to jet. But all right, yeah, all right. So let's
have what 12-3, 12-3.
Yeah, so I'll go back to like this was our it wasn't Worthy we had in there. Who else did we have? McConkey. So this was our original, was this right here.
Yeah.
And we got 600. We got 600.
I think it
was the Broncos. Yeah, it was the Broncos, and we got $300 left.
Yeah, let's just go. We'll stick with that.
Word, let's do it.
Let's stick with that.
Nothing different, nothing crazy. All right, cool. All right.
No, he said nothing different, nothing crazy.
Yeah. All right.
No, hey, it just is what it is. Yeah, Haywood, yeah. Like I'm saying, we're trying to come around a little bit more, try to do this when we got the time today. So, but yeah, hope you guys appreciated that one. And yeah, we're gonna be out of here, basically. The bets have been placed for the most part, and then DFS has been placed.
Yep.
No final thoughts because we'll be back later today. So that 7:15, 7:30-ish spot. We talking about the Sunday Night Football match between the Seahawks and the Commanders. But we out of here. We'll see you guys tonight. Good luck in everybody's lineups. Peace.